Welcome to the Key to All This with Tim and Dylan. I'm Dylan. This is Tim. How's it going, Tim? What's up?
Did you ever hear the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
No.
I thought not. It's not a story the Jedi would tell you. It's a Sith legend. Darth Plagueis was a dark lord of the Sith, so powerful and so wise, he could use the Force to influence the midichlorians to create life. They had such a knowledge of the dark side that he could even keep the ones he cared about from dying.
He could actually save people from death?
The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural.
What happened to him?
It became so powerful. The only thing he was afraid of was losing his power, which eventually, of course, he did. Unfortunately, he taught his apprentice everything he knew. Then his apprentice killed him in his sleep. Ironic. He could save others from death, but not himself.
Thank you for sharing that, Tim.
Yeah. I thought I could tell you that.
Palpatine.
Palpatine. Palpatine.
Yeah, Darth Palpatine. So today's episode is about Darth Plagueis and the story that was told during the Admiral Akbar soccer game, basically. The calamari, yeah, the little opera. It's a story told in Revenge of the Sith. It's basically Palpatine's way of saying, "Hey, Anakin, you're a dumbass. I'm going to turn you to the dark side." And
yes, it's almost so telegraphing to him. I'm a Sith Lord.
Mm-hmm.
I can teach you how to save your wife.
Mm-hmm.
I also know that you are dreaming about your wife dying. And I just say he's so dumb in this moment for not just like picking it up clearly.
Yeah, I mean, he's dumb for going to opera in the first place.
If they're talking that loudly during an opera, like you got to know that it's a very low reviewed.
Yeah, so many people just turning around. Shut the hell up!
I paid 300 credits for this.
Do you know how much money I spend here? Shut up!
I'm here every night, and I can't get one performance where I hear the whole thing.
I love Mon Calamari, and you're interrupting my love. I like that.
I eat squids after this.
Yeah, there's people that are truly there to pay attention, and Palpatine is like, this is the best place that I could have taken Anakin, because none of my friends are going to be here listening to this.
What's happening around me?
Yeah. No one will be caught dead here.
Can you imagine being the other people in that box? Where he's like, leave us. And it's like, you invited me to see this opera with you, and I have to go now?
Yeah.
It's like a Paul McCartney concert.
There's people that haven't even been invited with him. They just also got the same box. So they leave, and then they're talking to security, and they're being like, we have tickets, but the guy in there in the weird cloak was like, we need to leave. I just, can you tell me if these are the right seats? And then after that scene, I bet those people come in, security comes in, and they're like, sorry, Sheep, but this is their booth too. You have to share it. It's very important. They paid.
He's like, I swear, I booked the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's like now it's like every horror movie where it's like people booking the same Airbnb.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the Star Wars equivalent of people booking the same squid-based.
Yeah. But then we find out that Palpatine actually was in the wrong place. So the other people were sitting in the right seats, but he rented a different booth. It was one above. And it's just
some of the anniversary is really ruined. It's really sad for them.
I was going to propose. You blew it.
My my wife was in mating season. I was about to put a ring on it.
Well, don't say the J word. We got kind of in trouble with YouTube last week for talking about Star Wars jazz.
Wow.
So don't bring that up with this engagement.
That's so rude and obnoxious on YouTube's part.
It's very funny though. We forced ourselves to not have that video do well. But anyone, all the people watching and listening now, please go back and check out our Mos Eisley Cantina episode.
You be the judge.
There's a great joke in there that goes too long, and it got to the point where YouTube was like, no one can watch this video.
Yes,
we're not going to promote it
18 times in a row.
Yeah.
You're not getting any money from this.
Yeah. But we can't talk about it now. We can't talk about it now. But so Darth Plagueis, he's primarily known from being a part of this story. In canon, really, that's all that we know. He was Palpatine's master, and in Sith teachings, the master ends up getting killed by the apprentice, and that's typically the order of how the Sith work. So Palpatine was basically telling Anakin, I killed this guy, and Anakin's just like, what? Padme can live? You're going to teach me how to not kill Padme? Okay.
Wow. Who knew the Emperor was a Force user? And he's constantly talking about the dark side.
Yeah. This information is just for me. I love it.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous that he doesn't. I mean, there's no clue. It takes him literally another instance of going to his apartment, being like, "Let me teach you." Like, yeah, he basically has to spell it out for him. Like, I'm the Sith Lord. Like,
yeah,
let's get this over with.
Yeah, I mean, he does go and tell like Mace Windu. He's like, "Look, I think this is our guy," and then he sees the poor little shrimp boy getting shriveled up, and essentially injuring himself with his own laser fingers, which he does in Rise of Skywalker. Kills himself with his own laser fingers. When you could have stopped, but he doesn't, and tricks Anakin. Anakin obviously slices off Mace Windu's hand. Check out the second episode of The Key to All This when we talk about how Mace Windu is going to live. But then, he gets thrown out the window with the laser fingers.
Yeah, it's, I mean, it's very much a parallel of the Dooku moment, but, opposite essentially, where he sees the defenseless person and wants to save him instead of executing him. So it's just interesting moment. And what I like about the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise is it shows how duplicitous Sidious is, because the rule of two is, you're supposed to kill your master in like a fit of rage, and he kind of just does it very cold-heartedly by murdering him in his sleep. So no one really, you don't really, get that anger that you're supposed to use, and also in open combat too. So he does kind of subvert this rule of two in a way that's like kind of unbecoming of a Sith, but he kind of just operates in his own way. He's very just so selfish, even as a Sith.
And I don't know if he was trying to turn Anakin into Darth Vader for Anakin to eventually overthrow him, which he technically does, at the end of Return of the Jedi with help from Luke. But he's definitely not following the Sith code of one day my apprentice will take over me. And as we can see that they're building now, Palpatine always had the contingency plan of having clones of himself so he could live forever, which is what he does through Snoke and everything. And we see that through Grogu getting trying to get his blood taken in the Bad Batch with Omega.
Omega.
So he definitely is like trying to stop the rule of twos. Like
Yeah,
there.
he just wants to rule forever.
Mhm.
And it's interesting that, like, I mean, his approach is, not to get so much on a tangent, but his approach of cloning himself and like artificially manifesting his M count, using, other force wielders'
Force
ability.
steroids, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, it's not so he can live forever. It's just so that creatures that are similar to him, can live forever. It's just it's an interesting approach.
Yeah.
Very Westworld kind of approach to immortality.
Yeah, live forever.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the pivotal point where Anakin changes how he feels about everything. It's what leads to 4, 5, and 6. It even leads to 7, 8, and 9. But I have a question for you, Tim. So at the end of Return of the Jedi, Vader turns on Palpatine and turns back into Anakin the last minute. Okay. To the point where he comes back as a Force ghost, as a good guy, murdered children, whatever. I mean, it's the same thing with religion now. You can do whatever you want, but as long as you believe in God, you
And like
get
final
to be,
act of redemption.
you get to be a ghost. You're fine.
Yeah.
Which great. But do you think for 7, 8, and 9, so Kylo Ren had this passion to finish what Vader started. Do you think he was ever told that Vader was a good guy and like he was a bad guy and then he turned good at the end? Or do you think that was left from him, which made Kylo want to finish the bad doings of Vader? Because I feel like if you're brought up saying, look, your grandfather was a bad guy, but in the end, he turned it around. He was sweet. He killed the bad guy. I feel like Kylo Ren would be less likely to want to follow in Vader's footsteps, but more of Anakin's footsteps.
Well,
but also not having a father figure around. I mean, there's a bunch of different things. So, do you think Kylo Ren knew about Vader turning into Anakin in the last moment?
I think so, because I think him saying, I want to finish what he started, that he equates his turn to the light side with his death, and that he was only killed because he was weak, and he was weak because he reverted back to the light side, and that I think Kylo is about just like you have to commit to being as attached to the dark side as possible for your own power. And as soon as you kind of don't fully commit, that's when you start to feel the pull back to the light.
Yeah. So you think that Kylo thinks Anakin was weak in his final moments?
Okay. Yeah.
Who do you think would win in a battle? Anakin, Rise of Skywalker, or Revenge of the Sith, versus Kylo Ren, Rise of Skywalker?
That's a good question. I think they would both be beat by Vader in a suit.
Okay.
That would be my answer. I think Vader in a suit is the most deadly, duelist imaginable.
Yeah, because like his pain gives him more power.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is why I walk barefoot on the treadmill.
You break glass every morning and walk out the door barefoot.
Yep. It's the only way I can hit my 10,000 steps a day if I
not 1,999 of them are bloody and full of shards.
Yep. Pain gives me power. Anything else that you want to add about Darth Plagueis?
Just that he may be featured in the Acolyte. I've seen that.
All about that.
Chatter that some of the descriptions match his home planet of Mun. Now no relation to Olivia Munn. Yeah.
Beach to it.
And so that'll be remain to be seen, and the timeline could work out. But who knows? Yeah, that's all I had on the Plagueis the Wise.
Okay, and then we have a new quick segment at the end. So we have a topic every week that we discuss, whether it's a character, a planet, a battle, a movie, whatever in Star Wars. But now we want to add a little bit of what's going on in the news. Just super quick. I'm going to share an article, comment on it, and then Tim will have one. So Ahmed Best. This is true. We did the April 1st episode where we had a fake quote from Ahmed Best, but this is true. Ahmed Best wants Kelleran Beck to be in a John Wick style Star Wars movie.
Oh, interesting.
I love this. And so this is the quote. I keep putting this out there. I want to do a Jedi John Wick as Kelleran Beck. And I don't even need to say any words. I just want to do 2 hours of lightsabers and people in the way. I really want to do something like that because the fight that I did for Mandalorian is 1/10 of 1% of what I could do. And there's so much more. I'm all about this.
Sign me up. Yes.
And this is one line in the movie that I need. Obi Wan will be in it, so there'll be the pathway, and Kelleran Beck is basically like clearing Jedi. You know, Quinlan Vos is somewhere with Obi Wan. So Obi Wan leans into Kelleran and he goes, "What do you need?" And Kelleran says, "Gungans, lots of Gungans." The key to all of this, people.
That would be. He just walks in with a trench coat, opens it up. It's just a bunch of Gungans. Side. Yep. I love that idea. That's a great idea.
Yeah. I'm all about it. Gungans. Lots of Gungans.
That's great. My news is far less definitive and has no quote attached to it. But the Hollywood Reporter came out with a report that Sigourney Weaver is going to be joining the cast of Mandalorian and Grogu. So I think, I mean, I wanted to ask you who you think she could be, what role she could play.
She's Dengar.
Dengar.
Sigourney Weaver has signed on to motion capture Gonk.
Dengar.
She's just going to be a Gonk droid. I love the fact that Sigourney Weaver is joining the movie. I want her to play basically Ripley. I want her to be a badass Ripley character in. She can be a bounty hunter. She can be a Mandalorian. Whatever. I don't want her with a helmet. I want her face, and I want her to have like a Loth cat.
Oh, that would be great.
Little alien homage. I
would love that. Yeah. What's the name of the cat? And it's like Jinx or something like that, or
Jones.
Jones. That's it. Yes.
Yeah. Jinx is from Meet the Parents.
I'm Robert Durst. This is the Jinx.
You're Jinxie's Meet the Parents.
Barbara Jar Jar Binks.
You're gonna meet the cats. Nah, you're gonna meet the cats, fucker. Yeah. Jinxie's the cat that poops in the toilet. He can't flush though. Yeah, I'm all about that. I love that. I think that this is the perfect time to start adding big sci-fi names into the movie to make it stand out. I think Pedro Pascal is massive. The fact that Grogu, Baby Yoda, as non-mainstream audiences know, I think that is a good selling point. But adding Sigourney Weaver to it is just boom, way up there.
Yes, next level.
But let's get Simon Pegg in it as well.
Exactly.
He could play
Dengar plot.
He could play Dengar. Yeah. He wants to play Dengar. He voiced Dengar in Clone Wars, so let's do it.
He would be great with Dengar. Yeah.
I love it, Tim. I love it.
Me too.
All right. Well, it is time to say goodbye.
Well, may the force be with you, Dylan.
And also with you, Timothy.
And join us next week when we dive headfirst into Attack of the Clones.
Ooh. Attack of the Clones.
It's time.
I hate sand.